Disrespected? These 15 Stoic lessons will make you untouchable. Disrespect, a ubiquitous experience in human interaction, can often leave us feeling vulnerable, agitated, and emotionally drained. Whether it manifests as subtle dismissals or overt insults, disrespect challenges our sense of self-worth and tests our ability to maintain composure. However, Stoicism, a philosophy renowned for its practical wisdom, offers a powerful framework for navigating these challenging encounters. The original video acknowledges that disrespect is a universal challenge that all of us have once faced in our lives, emphasizing the need for a solution. This exploration delves into 15 Stoic lessons, inspired by the original video, designed to empower you to master disrespect, transforming it from a source of distress into an opportunity for growth, ultimately aligning with the central tenets of Stoicism, while expanding and enriching those concepts with original thought and creative exploration. These lessons provide a roadmap for cultivating inner resilience, responding with wisdom and integrity, and ultimately, finding freedom from the opinions and actions of others. The cornerstone of the Stoic approach to disrespect lies in the ability to remain calm and do not retaliate. When someone insults, disregards, or provokes you, the natural inclination is to respond in kind, to defend your honor and assert your dominance. However, retaliating only serves to escalate the situation, further inflaming the conflict and potentially leading to regretful actions. As the video correctly states, retaliation will only further inflame the situation. When you feel your temper flaring after being disrespected, take a deep breath and pause. Counting slowly to 10, or pressing your tongue to the roof of your mouth, can help to quickly calm your nervous system, creating space for rational thought and preventing impulsive reactions. Remember that lashing out aggressively, even if the urge feels justified, usually makes things worse in the long term. It is better to gather control of yourself first before responding, or even considering if a response is even necessary. This principle underscores the Stoic emphasis on self-control and the ability to manage our emotions, even in the face of provocation. Beyond refraining from retaliation in the heat of the moment, avoid seeking revenge later on when emotions have cooled. Attempting to get even by passive-aggressively harming the other person in return continues the cycle of disrespect, perpetuating the negativity and preventing resolution. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, the best response is not to become like the wrongdoer. Instead, maintain your own principles and treat the other person with dignity, even if they do not reciprocate at first. Your example can help elevate the situation. With patience and self-discipline, remain the calm eye of the storm when encountering disrespect. This level-headed strength often diffuses and transforms volatile situations more effectively than reactive anger. This emphasis on maintaining our own moral standards, regardless of the behavior of others, is a central tenet of Stoic ethics. We should not allow the actions of others to dictate our own conduct, but rather strive to live in accordance with virtue, even when faced with disrespect. This principle is closely related to the second lesson, consider the source. As Seneca insightfully noted, he who takes offense when no offense is intended is a fool. Yet he who takes offense when offense is intended is also a fool. This highlights the importance of discerning the intent behind the disrespectful behavior and recognizing that it may not always be a personal attack. The video accurately quotes Seneca in regards to taking offense. When someone is insulting or demeaning, pause to reflect before reacting. Is their behavior a reflection of their own pain, insecurity, or ignorance, rather than an accurate judgment of you? Do they have unresolved issues that are skewing their reactions? In scenarios like customer service, recognize that disrespectful behavior often arises from stress rather than anything to do with you personally. Do not take transient interactions personally. Compassion for their suffering can help you let go of offense. More broadly, consider how people's perceptions and assumptions tend to say more about them than about external reality or others. Our subjective judgments are shaped by our biases and past experiences. What people attack in you often mirrors what they attack in themselves. Their disrespect does not necessarily imply any lack of merit in you. Keep inner faith in your value, regardless of how anyone else behaves. Let it roll off your back while maintaining steadfast dignity and self-knowledge. The wise do not internalize insults. This ability to recognize that disrespectful behavior often stems from the internal state of the other person, rather than from our own inherent worth, is a powerful tool for cultivating resilience. It allows us to detach from the opinions of others and maintain our sense of self-esteem, even in the face of criticism or disrespect. Closely related to considering the source is the lesson of be the bigger person. When insulted or mistreated, pause before reacting negatively. See it as a test of your principles and resilience. Find the wisdom and strength to rise above the urge for retaliation. Reply with calm assertiveness rather than aggression. You can set clear boundaries and protect yourself without stooping to insults or meanness in return. Make reasonable requests for change behavior, but do not demand or command. If the disrespectful behavior persists, know when to walk away, temporarily or permanently, from the situation and relationship, but do so with integrity, not explosive venting or passive-aggressive parting shots. The video encourages calm assertiveness. Maintaining poised respectfulness when provoked transforms not just the conflict but your own character. Each difficult interaction contains an opportunity to demonstrate principles of understanding, patience, and courage. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "To bear trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength and burden." Disrespect loses its power to disturb you when you face it with virtue. Led by uplifting example, this emphasis on responding with virtue, even in the face of disrespect, is a hallmark of Stoic ethics. It is about maintaining our own moral standards, regardless of the behavior of others, and striving to act in accordance with wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. By doing so, we not only protect ourselves from the negative impact of disrespect, but also set an example for others, potentially inspiring them to act with greater respect and compassion. In addition to being the bigger person, we must focus on what you can control. As Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." This encapsulates the core of the Stoic philosophy, that true freedom lies not in controlling external events, but in controlling our internal responses to them. When insulted or mistreated, avoid wasting energy on trying to change the other person or ruminating endlessly about the situation. The video aptly quotes Epictetus, underscoring the importance of our reaction. You cannot dictate their attitudes or behavior, but you have full agency over your response. Ask yourself constructive questions like, how can I handle this with composure and ethics? What can I learn from this about myself and my principles? What is the most dignified way to move forward? Channel your power into the sphere of influence available, staying rooted in values, acting with integrity, calmly advocating for fair treatment when viable, and controlling the message you tell yourself. Of course, seek to improve circumstances through reasonable action when feasible, but without attachment to controlling uncontrollable things like someone else's conduct. Serenity comes from focusing only on what is within your power. Disrespect may be unavoidable at times, but you always can choose whether to respond with wisdom and principle or react with disturbance and blindness. Your control begins within. This emphasis on focusing on what we can control is a practical tool for cultivating inner peace and resilience. By recognizing that we cannot control the behavior of others, but we can control our own thoughts, emotions, and actions, we can liberate ourselves from the frustration and anger that often accompany disrespect. The ability to let things go allows us to accept that you cannot please everyone. No matter how kind, skillful, or wise you are, some people inevitably will be disrespectful or dislike you. This is beyond your control. Reflect carefully on the root causes. When someone treats you disrespectfully, why does their behavior perhaps stem from vastly different values, worldviews, and experiences, rather than anything about you personally. Remind yourself that people have a right to their preferences and opinions, even if they differ from your own. The video rightly notes that preferences are not up to you. You need not take differences of taste as personal affronts. There are countless factors outside your influence. Of course, reflect on feedback to consider if you have room to improve your conduct, but not all criticism is fair or accurate. Discern mindfully, which reflects inner issues of the critic versus your own shortcomings. As the Buddha taught, some will hate you, some will love you. This is beyond your control. Do your best to treat all kindly, but accept you won't be everyone's cup of tea. Make peace with this inevitability. Your worth is not dependent on pleasing the whole world. Stay grounded inwardly, following your own conscience. Manage your emotions skillfully when disliked, but do not expect universal approval. It cannot be forced. This acceptance of the fact that we cannot please everyone is a powerful tool for cultivating self-acceptance and reducing our dependence on external validation. By recognizing that our worth is not contingent on the opinions of others, we can free ourselves from the need to seek their approval and live in accordance with our own values. To understand ourselves, we can reflect on whether any of their criticism has validity. Stoics know we all have flaws and room for growth. Handle even disrespectful feedback thoughtfully. When someone attacks or mocks an element of your character, avoid knee-jerk defensiveness. Pause and review their feedback rationally once emotions have settled down. Ask yourself, might this criticism highlight a genuine weakness in me, even if the delivery is harsh? Be open to the usefulness of the message. Is there any room for improvement or virtues to cultivate related to the flaws they pointed out? Do an honest self-inventory before rejecting criticism outright. The video advises to pause before knee-jerk reactions. Of course, not all feedback is accurate or worthy of integrating. Use discernment to determine what comes from their own issues versus your genuine shortcomings. Consider the source's wisdom and motivations before fully accepting their critiques. Thank those giving constructive feedback, even painfully so. There is opportunity for growth, even in hurtful remarks, if you search for the lesson with humility. Our enemies often point out weaknesses our friends gloss over to be kind. The Stoics know we are all imperfect and have room to improve ourselves each day. Even from disrespect, wisdom can emerge if you listen for it. Handle feedback with rational discernment rather than dismissing all critique as simply unfair. This willingness to consider the possibility that there may be some truth in the criticism, even if it is delivered disrespectfully, is a valuable tool for personal growth. By being open to feedback and willing to examine our own flaws, we can identify areas where we can improve and cultivate virtues that will make us more resilient and effective in the face of disrespect. We can then remember that we all make mistakes. Feelings of anger and a desire for retribution are natural when insulted or mistreated, but holding resentments rarely benefits you in the long run. It chains you energetically to the one who hurt you. Ask yourself whether a slight disrespect really merits your ongoing distress and demand for vengeance. Is it better to simply forgive unskillful behavior that was not deeply malicious and move on? The video accurately reminds us that holding resentment hurts us the most. As Marcus Aurelius put it, the best response is not to become like the wrongdoer. Wish them well instead. Forgiveness demonstrates courage and principles. Of course, some acts of disrespect cross lines requiring accountability or removal from your life. Use wisdom to discern unhealthy patterns necessitating boundaries from simple misunderstandings warranting grace. But for minor disputes, a short memory often serves happiness. As Epictetus said, we should control our anger and restrain it in narrow bounds, lest it become our master. Avoid blowing conflicts out of proportion. The respectful and wise know all people sometimes speak or act unskillfully, but kindness, patience, and forgiveness heal rifts. Renew your spirit by releasing lesser offenses. Choose your battles judiciously. This emphasis on forgiveness is not about condoning wrongdoing, but about liberating ourselves from the grip of resentment and anger. allowing us to move forward with greater peace and freedom. To continue healing, we can surround yourself with respectful, supportive people. Carefully audit your relationships and social circles. Do some individuals routinely act dismissively or demeaningly toward you? Do they fail to appreciate your worth? Consider limiting contact with those who bring out the worst in you. Even if disconnecting completely isn't feasible, such as with difficult family members, try to minimize time spent together and interact only briefly and under controlled conditions where possible. The video wisely notes to consider who you surround yourself with. Fill your life instead with those who treat you with basic decency while encouraging your growth. Those resonating with your values make all the difference. Good company uplifts your whole being. Of course, have compassion even for toxic people, but protect your energy too. Relationships should empower both parties, not drain one. You teach others how to treat you by what you tolerate. Surround yourself with those who see your light rather than cast shade upon it. Life opens up exponentially when you let some connections recede to make room for fulfilling bonds aligned with your highest self. This emphasis on surrounding ourselves with supportive and respectful individuals is a practical tool for cultivating self-esteem and resilience. By limiting contact with those who consistently disrespect us, we create space for relationships that nourish our spirits and empower us to live in accordance with our values. Limiting contact also means that we should do not gossip or complain excessively about the disrespect. Venting often makes you dwell on negatives and gives the situation more power over you. Of course, share disrespectful incidents with close confidants who offer healthy support and perspective, but avoid fixating endlessly to anyone who will listen. This reinforces victimhood and negativity. The video accurately reminds us that venting has its limits. When you feel the urge to gossip or complain arise, pause first. Consider if this is truly serving your growth or just spreading more toxicity. There are often better uses for your time and energy. Venting discontent can easily become a bad habit when disrespected, but as Seneca said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Excessive complaining magnifies hurt. Shift focus to constructive action instead. Look for the learning in difficulties rather than just telling tales of woe. Frame experiences neutrally as opportunities to demonstrate virtues like forgiveness, courage, and patience. When communicating, avoid words that blow up the significance of the disrespect. Be wary of confirmation bias in commiserating with those who only agree with your perspective. See the bigger picture. Speaking of grievances can release emotions in the short term, but keeps you stuck in victimhood. Handle difficulties philosophically within yourself rather than amplifying negativity outwardly. This emphasis on avoiding excessive complaining is not about suppressing our emotions, but about preventing ourselves from becoming trapped in a cycle of negativity. By shifting our focus to constructive action and seeking the lessons in difficult experiences, we can cultivate a more positive and resilient mindset. Cultivating positivity, we can keep an emotional distance from those who mistreat you. When someone insults you, recognize it says more about their issues and character than your value as a person. Their opinions come from their subjective perspective, not any absolute truth. Do not take attacks personally. Keep inner faith in your own worth and principles, regardless of others' conduct. Their disrespect does not actually diminish your value. Remain grounded in self-knowledge rather than looking to them for validation. Of course, no one enjoys being attacked, but the impact on your spirit is within your power to manage. The video correctly states that disrespect is about the other person and not about you. As Marcus Aurelius advised, choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. Do not allow the shortcomings of others to become your own by permitting their words to infiltrate how you see yourself. You remain fully in control over your dignity and inner peace. Externals cannot penetrate your mind and heart without consent. Keep your spirit elevated beyond the reach of unjustified criticism. This ability to maintain emotional distance from those who disrespect us is a powerful tool for protecting our inner peace and self-esteem. By recognizing that their behavior is a reflection of their own internal state, rather than a commentary on our worth, we can detach from their opinions and maintain our sense of dignity. Maintaining that dignity, we can maintain your integrity and values. When insulted or mistreated, it's tempting to betray your principles in reaction, maybe demeaning them back, sabotaging their reputation, or even groveling for validation. But these reactive ploys only diminish your worth further. Rather than playing their game, stand firm in who you are. Keep exemplifying kindness, understanding, and fairness, even if the other does not reciprocate. In a frustrating conflict, do not let their behavior drag you down. The video rightfully asks us to stand firm. As Epictetus put it, dare to look up to God and say, make use of me for the future as thou wilt. I am of the same mind, I am one with thee. I refuse nothing which seems good to thee. Have faith in your higher purpose. Of course, be willing to examine your own conduct to see if you have room to improve, but do not abandon your core principles or adopt unethical behavior. Compromise on superficial matters, but not your soul. Staying rooted in your wisdom and conscience earns self-respect and integrity. These become your steady anchor in any stormy conflict. Handling disputes with rational virtue reveals true strength and maturity. This emphasis on maintaining our integrity and values is a cornerstone of Stoic ethics. It is about living in accordance with our principles, regardless of the behavior of others, and refusing to compromise our moral standards, even in the face of disrespect. To continue that trend, we should be polite and professional, but stand up for yourself when necessary. Default to being courteous and extending basic respect to those who mistreat you. Take the high road, but avoid allowing harmful behavior to continue unaddressed in the name of peacekeeping. Passivity backfires when disrespected. First, call out politely. Please do not speak to me that way. Or, those remarks were hurtful and unjustified. Give them an opportunity to recognize and adjust their conduct. Assume good intent initially. Be firm and fair in establishing your boundaries. The video rightfully states we should stand up for ourselves. Of course, remove yourself immediately from any interaction turning verbally or physically aggressive. Do not remain mistreated for the sake of etiquette. But even then, part ways while upholding your own authority and principles. Find power in embodying essential dignity for yourself and all people. With principled courage and highest mutual care, much conflict can be transformed, led by drawing out the angels in human nature. This emphasis on standing up for ourselves while maintaining politeness and professionalism is a practical tool for navigating disrespectful encounters. It allows us to assert our boundaries and protect ourselves from harm without resorting to aggression or disrespect. To be successful, we must realize you cannot force others to respect you. When disrespected, it is tempting to reactively blow up or cave in, trying to coerce respect through intimidation or obsequiousness. But these strategies undermine self-worth further. Authentic respect cannot be compelled. Understand that other people's choices to be polite or not ultimately stem from their own judgments and intentions. Your attempts to control their behavior externally only lead to frustration and loss of personal power. Focus instead on self-respect, upholding your own standards of integrity independent of how anyone else chooses to act. The video rightfully states we cannot force others. Led by example through demonstrating principled, rational responses that speak for themselves. As Gandhi said, I cannot teach you violence, as I do not myself believe in it. I can only teach you not to bow your heads before anyone, even at the cost of your life. Stantal internali. When you remain composed and ethical amidst mistreatment, you earn self-respect through courage and virtue. Your inherent dignity shines bright enough to inspire it in others. When conditions allow, nurture it first within. This emphasis on self-respect and the recognition that we cannot force others to respect us is a powerful tool for cultivating inner peace. By focusing on upholding our own standards of integrity and acting in accordance with our values, we can earn our own respect and maintain our sense of self-worth, regardless of the behavior of others. To be at peace, we can focus on the positives. When insulted or mistreated, it's easy to fall into self-pity and dwell on negatives. But wallowing in victimhood tends to breed more unhappiness, not conflict resolution. Counterbalance it with gratitude. Make a list of your positive qualities and valuable contributions. Remember all the people in your life who do love, respect, and support you. Review your achievements and capabilities. Consider the disrespectful person's own positive attributes as well. Their flaws likely coexist with good intentions and virtues in areas you lack information about. Assume fundamental human dignity. The video accurately notes we must focus on the good. Sit with the reality that you have gifts to offer and are worthy of respect just for being you, but release attachment to receiving it from every person. Peace comes from within, not needing validation. Focusing on the light during times of darkness provides perspective and protects against distorted thinking. Be proud of your merits while having compassion for those unable to appreciate them fully, at least for now. As Carl Jung put it, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Your circumstances and treatment do not define your worth. Shine on undeterred. This emphasis on focusing on the positives is a valuable tool for cultivating resilience and maintaining a positive outlook in the face of disrespect. By reminding ourselves of our strengths, accomplishments, and the support we receive from others, we can counterbalance the negative impact of disrespectful behavior and maintain our sense of self-worth. To have lasting healing, we can take the long view on life's ups and downs. When embroiled in conflicts or mistreated, recall times in your past you overcame similar trials, even if they felt devastating in the moment. You are stronger than you know. This too shall pass. Look at difficult scenarios as opportunities to demonstrate principles of understanding, resilience, and grace under fire. How you respond defines you more than what happens. Endure nobly like the greats you admire. Consider how petty occasional disrespect will seem in 10 years' time of all the experiences shaping your life. Don't exaggerate one's significance. Keep perspective. The video wisely tells us to endure nobly. Of course, take reasonable steps to establish healthy boundaries and uphold justice, but do so patiently, rooted in the bigger picture. Temporary conflicts need not derail you from your higher aims. Respond to trials with the wisdom of one who has overcome greater ordeals. Allow life's brevity and eternity to frame each insult in perspective. Conclusion. The Stoic path to mastering disrespect offers a powerful framework for cultivating inner peace, resilience, and freedom in a world often characterized by negativity and conflict. By embracing these 15 lessons, we can transform disrespect from a source of distress into an opportunity for growth, learning to respond with wisdom, integrity, and compassion. Ultimately, this Stoic journey is about cultivating self-respect, maintaining our values, and finding peace within ourselves, regardless of the behavior of others, aligning with the teachings highlighted in the video. By embracing these principles, we can navigate the challenges of disrespect with greater ease and grace, transforming ourselves into more resilient, compassionate, and virtuous individuals. Key takeaways. Remain calm and do not retaliate. Pause, breathe, and avoid escalating the situation with reactive anger. Consider the source. Discern the intent behind the disrespectful behavior, recognizing it may stem from the other person's issues. Be the bigger person. Rise above the urge for retaliation, responding with calm assertiveness and setting clear boundaries. Focus on what you can control. Channel your energy into your response, values, and actions, releasing attachment to uncontrollable factors. Accept that you cannot please everyone. Make peace with the fact that some people will inevitably be disrespectful, and your worth is not dependent on their approval. Reflect on whether any of their criticism has validity. Be open to the possibility that there may be some truth in the criticism, and use it as an opportunity for growth. Remember that we all make mistakes. Forgive unskillful behavior that was not deeply malicious, and move on. Surround yourself with respectful, supportive people. Limit contact with those who bring out the worst in you, and cultivate relationships that nourish your spirit. Do not gossip or complain excessively about the disrespect. Shift your focus to constructive action and seek the lessons in difficult experiences. Keep an emotional distance from those who mistreat you. Do not take attacks personally and remain grounded in self-knowledge. Maintain your integrity and values. Stand firm in who you are and refuse to compromise your moral standards, even in the face of disrespect. Be polite and professional, but stand up for yourself when necessary. Assert your boundaries and protect yourself from harm without resorting to aggression or disrespect. Realize you cannot force others to respect you. Focus on self-respect and uphold your own standards of integrity. Focus on the positives. Counterbalance the negative impact of disrespectful behavior with gratitude and a focus on your strengths and accomplishments. Take the long view on life's ups and downs. Remember that this too shall pass, and see difficult scenarios as opportunities for growth and resilience. This essay, inspired by the original video and grounded in Stoic philosophy, offers a practical guide for mastering disrespect and cultivating inner peace in a world often characterized by negativity and conflict. By embracing these 15 lessons, we can transform our lives, finding greater resilience, compassion, and virtue, regardless of the behavior of others.